Syracuse basketball loses to Georgia Tech 71-65. Brent Axe recap. If you want to blame Doug Shows for Syracuse's 71-65 loss to Georgia Tech on Sunday night, then have at it. Snows made the questionable illegal screen call on Tyler Roberson with 16 to go that popped the Orange comeback attempt and put a dent in its NCAA tournament bubble. I wasn't a fan of that call, but will list other faults from this game above it as reasons Syracuse lost. As valiant as the Orange are in these comeback bids, they can't keep digging these holes game after game and expect to climb out with a win each time. Georgia Tech's 26-6 run will stand out more than a referee's whistle to me. John Gillen and Tyler Lydon combining for 14 points hurt the Orange more than a screen call that may or may not have set up a game-tying or winning play. The Orange have now lost 7 games on the road in conference play. 3 games remain in the regular season: Duke, at Louisville and Georgia Tech, plus whatever fate awaits the Orange in the ACC tournament. You are going to hear the word bubble more than you care to over the next 2 weeks as the Orange tries to shore up a shaky NCAA tournament resume. An 18-13 Syracuse team was kept out of the NCAA tournament by its own postseason ban 2 seasons ago. A 19-13 Syracuse squad snuck into the 2016 NCAA tournament and made a Final Four run a year ago. This Orange team sits at 16-12, 8-7 in the ACC, with a 3-game losing streak in hand and a number 12 ranked Duke team that has won 7 straight coming to the Carrier Dome on Wednesday night. Orange fans have to summon the faith again they can do enough to grab a golden ticket to the NCAA tournament. Do you believe? Second half slide. Georgia Tech's surge started just before halftime. Todrick Jackson hit a 3-pointer just before the buzzer to cut the Orange lead at the break to 32-29. The Jackets turned that into a 12-0 run that extended to a 26-6 run at one point in the second half. Georgia Tech shot 60%. 15 of 25, to Syracuse's 31%, 12 of 38, in the second half. The Orange shot 35% for the game overall, 25-70. A late lift where Syracuse scored 20 points in the final 3 minutes didn't make up for a stretch where they scored 13 in the preceding 17 minutes. Big Ben. Georgia Tech's Ben Lammers had himself a night against the Orange. A prime candidate for most improved player in the ACC, the Yellow Jackets' big man patrolled the paint and collected 23 points, 7 blocks and 7 rebounds against the Orange. Syracuse had almost no answer for Lammers, who mixed a strong presence around the rim with jump shots from the foul line to torch the Orange on offense. His defense kept the Orange from being able to attack the rim with any consistency. The Orange get the Yellow Jackets again on March 4. An NCAA tournament bid may still be on the line that day if the Orange can't defeat Louisville or Duke. Finding a way around Lammers could be the key to SU's postseason fate. John gone at Georgia Tech. John Gillen had a rough go at Georgia Tech, finishing with just 7 points on 2 of 10 shooting, including a 1-for-7 shooting performance from beyond the arc. Gillen added 6 turnovers in 35 minutes against the Yellow Jackets. Gillen's rough play had a soundtrack of airball chants from the Yellow Jacket fans throughout the night. As he always seems to, Gillen made a redemptive big play at the end with a 3 from the corner to cut the Yellow Jacket lead down to 67-64. In this case, it wasn't enough to justify 35 minutes of mostly lousy play. Syracuse head coach Jim Boeheim said after the game that Gillen was Syracuse's best point by 10 miles and was surprised anyone who has watched his team this season would ask why he didn't pull him from the game sooner. He's the only reason we've won 8 games in a very difficult league, Syracuse coach Jim Boeheim said. We obviously need him to play better, but he's the guy. It's not like we have another guy that's better. He's the best point guard we've got by about 10 miles. I'm surprised Jim, a coach who always stresses the best players will play, didn't recognize when a player was hurting his team more than helping it. Frank Howard isn't the perfect solution, but has played well enough in Syracuse's prior 2 games to justify more than 12 minutes on the floor. Need more from Lydon. Syracuse has lost 3 straight games and there is a distinct pattern to attach to that losing streak. Tyler Lydon has scored 8, 14 and 7 points in that stretch, shooting just 3 of 11 against the Yellow Jackets on Sunday night. Lydon will continue to draw top status from the opposing team's scouting report and has to work for his offensive chances. When he's not scoring, he'll always find other ways to contribute, as he did with 15 rebounds against GT. All that said, Syracuse is at its best when Lydon is the key offensive draw and in the flow of the Orange attack. He'll have to lead the charge to ensure Syracuse's postseason fate in the last 3 games of the season. White hitting a wall. Andrew White was Syracuse's second leading scorer with 17 points against Georgia Tech, including hitting 4 three-pointers in 40 minutes of action. White is a key cog in the Syracuse offensive machine and did an admirable job escaping a sluggish offensive start. That said, it's worth noting how much White has had to shoot in Syracuse's last 2 games to meet or exceed his average. White has shot a combined 13 of 40, 32%, in the last 2 games from the field. That's behind a season pace of 42% for the Orange senior and follows a 7-game ACC stretch where White did not fall below the 40% mark. It may just be a 2-game dip, but worth keeping an eye on down the stretch. Syracuse is going to need a plus 40% shooting performance from White to have a shot to beat Duke or Louisville and keep the Orange in the NCAA tournament conversation. Thompson time. Torian Thompson did not wait until the second half to surge this time around. Thompson came out to play right away, finishing with 18 points and 12 rebounds overall against the Yellow Jackets. Thompson took advantage of some open paint and lax defense on him inside, even WTH Georgia Tech's blocking machine Ben Lammers looming. Thompson, who excels on those occasions when SU faces zone defenses, flashed his jump shot away from the hoop and was a pain against Georgia Tech's hybrid 2-3. Thompson is still coming around the defensive end and picked up a 4th foul again in this game, but also looked steadier than recent games on the defensive end with 3 blocks. Board patrol. Syracuse has been a bottom-half team in the ACC in rebounding, 12th in rebounding margin, but hit the boards hard against Georgia Tech. Syracuse out-rebounded Georgia Tech 41-36. Tyler Lydon has 15 rebounds to lead the way overall. Both Lydon, 7, and Torian Thompson, 8, crashed the offensive glass for the Orange. All those chances did not engineer enough points for the Orange as they missed some easy opportunities, but it was an encouraging effort from Thompson and Lydon that they may have to repeat in order to stay competitive with Duke and Louisville down the stretch. Battle back to speed. Use battle seems back at full speed for the Orange following a couple games spent battling flu-like symptoms. Battle had 11 points, including 2 3-point shots against the Yellow Jackets, with 4 assists in 33 minutes. You could even make the case that Battle needed to be a little more aggressive against the Jackets, but we'll cut him some slack on getting back into the flow of things following those games he played with an illness. Battle provides an important offensive complement for the Orange. Lydon and White are the 1-2 punch, but Battle is a needed complement to keep opposing defenses honest with his ability to mix up penetration and 3-point shooting. He'll need to have a big game in order for Syracuse to beat Duke on Wednesday night. Hey coach, the only games we've won, John Gillen has won for us, Boeheim said. So when he's having an off game I'm not going to say, okay, you're done. He is what got us here. That's not even a question I would think someone who watched us play all the time would ask. This, that and the other thing. John Gillen now owns the Syracuse school record with 38 consecutive free throws made, breaking a previous mark held by Brandon Trich. Andrew White's streak of consecutive games with at least 20 points was halted at 7. Syracuse leads the all-time series with Georgia Tech, 4-3. Syracuse is 2-7 on the road in ACC play this season.